Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Casual KO. We're here again for the last event of 2024, and I'm excited. It's a shame that we can't have Jared here, but he's with us here in spirit, and we're going to continue grinding on having profitable weeks, man. I've had the last few, for me personally, have been profitable. It was rough leading up into the main event of UFC 310. I um I want to get into it here with Alex because he is the, you know, only one of the main cast of the show that is joining me in this episode. Like I said, Jared's gone this evening, but he'll be back. Um Alex, we talked a little bit, during the card. There were some weird calls, there's some crazy stuff going on, but I had a great week at the end of all of it. I'm assuming that you had a great week as well. Let me know exactly what happened for you during UFC 310, man.
It was good, I swept the board. I gave out three confident plays, and my plays were the over 2.5 in Gary and Shavkat. I also said get greedy on the distance, because teammates, guys, that trend has been smashing. So teammates typically go the distance. That hit. I gave out a two-team parlay, Evloev and Gan at -120. I know everyone's saying Gan was a robbery, but whatever, I'll take it. And I gave out Gracie and Mitchell doesn't go the distance. Now, I did go a little bit less heavy on Cron Gracie because Mitchell liked one of my photos 2 hours before the fight card, and that was my sign to yeah, don't be betting Gracie anymore.
Yeah,
So,
dude,
yeah, a lot of my punts lost, but all my big plays hit. Very good, profitable night for me. I left with a smile.
that's what it's about, man. I took in the Gracie and Mitchell fight, I took knockout for Mitchell and I took knockout for Gracie. I put $100 on the knockout for Gracie and I put 20. I'm sorry, I put $100 on the knockout for Mitchell and 20 on the knockout for Gracie because the Gracie knockout odds were wild. So I just had to throw a little bit. And I was like, I'm sprinkling. I texted that to you and Jared. I was like, I'm sprinkling on the Gracie knockout, but I had the bigger hit on the Mitchell knockout, which I didn't think was going to happen. I mean, the dude doesn't knock out many people, but it
I
did hit
thought it.
that
I
night.
thought it was gonna happen. You know why?
The odds were wild. That's why.
I had a feeling. Someone was gonna catch Cron Gracie eventually. And if anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be someone who can grapple or half grapple.
Yeah. I mean, that was probably my smartest bet of the night. My biggest bet of the night was in the main event, and it was Pantoja getting the submission in two, three, or four. I wish that I would have taken the two and three because that's what I was about to do. Obviously, the gambler's remorse, that's a real thing. I could have obviously taken the two, but I was on the fucking fence about taking two and three or two, three, and four, and I just played it safe, took two, three, and four because I was getting my ass kicked. I won a bet with Alexander Volkov. I bet on Alexander Volkov. I won that bet, but I didn't get paid out. So that sucks. I also lost a bet betting on Brian Battle, but I got paid out for that. So I guess it kind of cancels itself out.
I
Um, these judges are fucking wild, man. They need to be investigated.
I want to call them up, bro. I'm gonna find one of their phone numbers, and me and you are gonna call them up, and we're gonna thank one of them.
I mean, we can't thank the lady. I forget the lady's name. She was
I will
married.
thank the lady, but I'll switch the phone off to you, and you can hammer it. But she helped me
Horrible.
out this week.
Horrible calls, man. Even Dana White was talking about how Cyril Gane did lose that fight. Cyril Gane has to be one of the most fraudulent, high-profile heavyweights out there of all time in the UFC. He's not very good. He's a quitter. I don't think he's very talented. He's physically skilled, but that's about it. He's very light on his feet. He doesn't even hit hard. I mean, like the only guys that he's really dominating are people like Cyril Gane or not Cyril Gane, fucking Sergey Spivak and Tai Tuivasa, man. Like those are the only guys that he's really able to really do things against. So
Comes
I
back to
am.
the bad. It comes back to the bad heavyweight division. That's what the best they have to offer. But if there was no wrestling in that fight, I still feel like we would have seen something else.
I don't know, man. I think that Volkov won that fight, and I think if you show that fight to a lot of people, I think that they would, even people that don't know anything about MMA, they would say that Volkov won. He looked good. I think that I'm definitely betting Volkov in his next fight because he's going to fight someone lower level than Cyril Gane. He's probably going to be a pretty big favorite. It's just a shame, and I'm fading Gon in his next fight because that dude's a quitter, man. He's more obsessed with FIFA. He's into like just like having fun, and I don't think he's a guy that's ever had to really try very hard in his life to get
What?
to where he's at. And when he has
I'd
to start
say
trying hard, he
I'd be
loses.
wary about going doing that just automatically. Obviously, wait for the matchup, but I believe you don't bet against the UFC's plans. They want to build up that France market, and that's why they be giving him close decisions. And another thing is that the UFC loves controversy. They don't give a crap about giving out a robbery decision because they know you're going to talk about it. They know you're going to go to work the next day and be like, "Hey, dude, Volkov got robbed. Did you watch that?" And you're going to be like, "Yeah, I did." You know, they want that type of talk, and it's actually good for business. You ever heard the saying, "No such thing as bad publicity"? Well,
Sure.
this is one of those cases.
Right, but it's bad for the sport and it's bad for the athletes and
Is
these
it when
these
people are talking about it? At the
yes.
end of the day, they're talking about it.
Yes, it's definitely bad because Volkov, I guarantee you that he would prefer a win over people talking about him losing. I think that Volkov would definitely recommend, like, he would want that. So, yeah, and I think that it's bad for the sport overall when judges can't fucking figure out what they're watching, man. It's a bad, bad look. So,
No, I believe they're paid off. Come on. You
of
can't believe
course they're
they're just
paid
coming
off,
to
but it's a
these by
bad look still.
conclusion.
Of course they're paid off, man, but it's a bad look. It's a bad fucking look. It doesn't look right, and it delegitimizes the sport when people can't fucking figure out. Like when you watch NFL games, the fucking commentary is always agreeing with what the referees are saying. There's a once in a blue moon circumstance where they're like, "Oh, I don't see why they called that hold," or whatever. But 9 times out of 10, or 99 times out of 100 in the NFL broadcast, the broadcast booth is agreeing with what the referees are calling on the field. That is not the case in the UFC. And that delegitimizes the credentiality or whatever you want to say of the fucking officials, man. It's not a good look. And it makes it's what's holding the UFC getting to the NFL level. Because I believe that the UFC should be on the NFL level because it's more entertaining. There's more events per year. It's one of those things where it's a hindrance to the sport. So with that said, um, yeah, man, I really enjoyed the UFC 310 broadcast. It was super fun to watch. Anthony Smith, I think this dude should retire. It's sad, man. I feel bad.
I told you Dominic Ray is
Well,
lock of the card.
I do fantasy every week on DraftKings, and Dominic Reyes was my captain in one of my captain pools. And I was one of the only people in my division that picked Dominic Reyes, and he
Let's
scored
go!
he scored 203 points. That was the most out of any of these guys. He fucking absolutely dominated.
Did you win
And
the
that's the
pool?
thing. Dominic Reyes, I didn't win. I placed like fucking 10th, and 1 through 5 got paid out. But I was so close to getting like $1,000. So it was very frustrating. I had Ian Gary in that lineup, and that's what fucked me. But I had like Pantoja, I had Kennedy, I had all finishes on my thing except for Ian Gary fucked me. So, it is what it is, man. Those
Oh, why
fantasy
would you
things are
bet
hard to
Ian
win.
Gary finish?
What's that?
You bet a finish in the Ian Gary fight?
No, with fantasy, it's only points. Have you
Oh,
ever
you
done
bet Ian
fantasy?
Gary. Yeah, all right, I see you.
Have you ever done fantasy, dude? It's fun.
I have a couple times, but I don't even think I went back to look at it.
It's fun. Usually you're losing. You're either losing or you're making your money back, and then if you're
Yeah,
very,
last time I
very
did, I
lucky,
think I
you're
won
making
like
profit.
$4 off like DraftKings points, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna waste time on that again.
It's fun, man. It's a lot of fun because you always think that there's an opportunity to make like $100,000 off like $5. So it's always fun. And yeah, they have those things every week. $5 entries can get you fucking $10,000, $100,000. It just depends like how risky you want to get. I usually do the $8 entries and the first place guy gets 10,000. So I have a couple entries on that every week, and I've placed first place in one, but it was a $5 bet, and it was like I think 2,000 people, and first place got 1,000, but I tied three ways with two other people, and we each got $333. So, it was fun, man. It's cool. It's always a fun fucking time. I recommend everyone that's into betting gets into fantasy on DraftKings because it's just fucking incredible.
Probably a good week to do it because everyone's lineup is going to be different this week. This is a hard card in my opinion, very trappy card, and this is one where you're going to want to pick your spots. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The pay-per-views are always harder with those fantasy things. Well, with that said, man, let's get into it, dude. Let's roll right into this first fight of the night. Um, Alex is going to be sharing the visuals here while I talk us through it. And yeah, we're just going to bounce back and forth with who starts. First up, first fight of the night, a couple ladies throwing down. We got Piera Rodriguez versus Josephine Knudsen, is I think how you say her fucking name. She's Swedish. Who cares? She's Hamzat's fucking chick. I think these two are fucking probably. Um, it's obvious that Knudsen wins here. But are the lines too wide? That's my question. I'm a little concerned because Piera is tough. She's very physical. I think that, she shows some low fight IQ moments. Excuse me. I'm drinking some whiskey here, so I'm hiccuping a little bit. Piera is just not, she's not it for me. Josephine is who I think the UFC wants to win. I'm not going to overthink this, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. So give me Josephine Knudsen decision. I think it could be potentially unanimous as well. So that's my thoughts on this first fight of the night. Alex, what do you have?
I'm on the other side. I like Rodriguez. I think she has an easy path to victory, which is just pressure, just clinch nonstop. I think the third round's going to be a little scary because she has slowed down in the past. But I think she's going to be up 2 rounds going into the third. I think Knutson has. You'll do, Knutson! I think Knutson has a chance to win by finish. I think she definitely hits harder. But on the ground, Pierre's got a lot of improvement too. She did get screwed in her last fight, in my opinion. I thought that, should have still gone her way. I feel like she
Didn't
got
she
screwed out of
headbutt?
that. It was kind of accidental, though. She was trying to pull her arm out.
It was not. She headbutted her twice.
Come on, one of them was accidental, and the other
That's where
one,
my
come
low
on, that's a
fight IQ
point all
thing comes in.
day. At max, that's a point. But
No,
that was a pretty bad disqualification. I just think she's
low
got.
fight IQ.
I think you're right. You're right, but I think she's gonna come in and make a statement. I like the plus 200 on her. It's red flag too, because I don't know where the line's going right now on that.
Well, let's see.
Yeah, it's pretty stagnant, which is a red flag, especially if only 7% are picking her on
Well,
tap.
so for the listeners, describe where the line's at.
The line is plus 190 on Rodriguez, minus 240 on the comeback on Knutson.
And what's the movement looking like from your
Not
perspective?
really any movement. If anything, the line on Josephine's coming down in some spots a little bit. I see it at 225 in some spots. And yeah, it's a red flag when you see 7% picking Rodriguez on Tapology. I just think it's a closer fight than people think. And if all the money's going to be on Knutson, that's another red flag for a split decision going the other way. So I'm going to go Rodriguez wins the decision. I think she gets takedowns, and I think she ekes out a decision.
Okay. Rodriguez decision. I mean, that's not a crazy call, man, because we see a lot of these female fights end very, very weirdly. But I think that I think Knudsen wins this just because, she's the one that they want to push, and they is the UFC. They want to push this girl. They're matching her up favorably. I think that it happens for her. We'll move to the second fight of the night. Davy Grant versus Ramon Tavares. And this is your fight to take first, Alex. What do you think about this matchup?
Uh, Close fight, Be honest, it's tough not to go with the younger guy. I understand why he's the favorite, just given on the stats. But I see value on Davy Grant, the vet at plus 120. I think he can go out there, work a jab. I think he can go out there and every minute that goes by, I'm pretty sure he's going to be winning it. So I'm going to take the minute winner here. I'm going to go with Grant wins a unanimous decision. And going to be a close fight. You know, he hasn't looked that great as of recently, but a split decision loss to Daniel Marcos isn't a bad look. He's other than that knockout, didn't he have a knockout loss recently? When was that? That was a while ago, huh?
Yeah, against Yanez or no, yeah. I mean, he
Wow, he
went to
hasn't been
decision with
knocked out.
Marlon
Maybe I'm
Vera.
thinking about someone else. Yeah, but I gotta go Davy Grant here. I just see the value. I know he's a little bit older, probably on his way out, but I think he's more skilled and talented than this guy. I think he's gonna show that veteran status. And as we saw last week, a lot of veterans were winning. I think we see that trend continue this week. So I'm gonna go Davy Grant plus 120. I do like that pick. Back to back dogs for me.
Yeah, I don't hate it. But I do to a certain extent because who do you think is one of the worst pickers in MMA YouTube right now? Or who do you think is the worst?
Uh, I don't know. I wouldn't know where to start. I don't really keep track of them, but I don't know. I just would say the guy that I dislike the most. I don't know. Diehard MMA.
Yeah, he picked Davy Grant.
Was I right though? I was right.
Yes.
I
Yes.
knew it. He's horrible, dude. He's an auto fade. If you just go to his channel and auto fade him, you will make money for life. Trust me.
Yeah,
Profit
he
pick
picked
certified money making strategy.
I know. And I don't have a problem with him myself, but I know you cannot stand him. And he
I
picked
can't. You know
Davy
why? He
Grant
can't
very
take
confidently.
criticism. Like I give out a bad pick. You can talk as much trash as you want. I'm never gonna say nothing. He gave out a bad pick once, and I roasted him for it, and he blocked me. He can't handle it.
Yeah, yeah, he's a fake dude, honestly. But like I don't have a problem with him. I just think that he's fake and his personality's fake. A lot of people have fake personalities online, but he picked Davy Grant very confidently here, and that made me want to pick Ramon Tavares so hard. So I am on the Ramon Tavares
I
side.
understand. Hey, blind mouse gets the cheese sometimes.
Sometimes he
Might
does,
be
but I
one
don't
of
think he
the.
does this
He
time.
might be one of his winners he gave out. It's not a bad pick. Could it lose? Absolutely. We got the 8 year older veteran here. Come on,
Yeah,
but
I don't think Davy Grant was good, 5 years ago. I really don't think he's that good, man. I mean, sure, he's fighting some high profile names, but I mean, he's 13-7. I mean, that's not good. That means that I think a good fighter has like three times, four times the wins that they do losses. He's got over half the losses that he does to wins, right? So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like halfway, 14-7, that would be halfway losses to wins. He's surpassed that. I mean, and he's been in the game for a while, but being fucking 38 and having a 13-7 record, this guy owns a restaurant out in England. I mean, he's focused on other things. Rafael Assunção, or I'm sorry, Ramon Tavares. I was looking at this fucking last fight of his, but Ramon Tavares, this dude is 10-2. He's 30 years old. He's working on trying to make a run. He's not even in his prime quite yet. So yeah, man, give me Tavares, and I think that he can get this done. It's probably by decision, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a knockout here, just
I
because
just
Grant,
believe. I
I've never
think
been high on
Grant's
the dude.
more technical. If you watch the tape, I think Grant's the pick. He's just got the better jab. He's more slick, and I think Tavares is just gonna be like round one or bust. To be honest, he's gonna be
Yeah,
knockout or bust. He's gonna be knockout or bust in this spot, in my opinion. But I think Grant has it in the wrestling. I think he's gonna have it in the stand up from the distance for striking, and I think he's gonna win points. And I think he's gonna win minutes. So give me Grant decision. Three dogs in a row.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's no way that all three of those hit, so that's scary picking all three dogs. But well, no, that's two dogs in a row, right? We've only gone through two fights. Where's that third fight coming from, Alex?
Oh, you're right. I
Mm.
thought we went through two dogs in a row. I thought we were on three.
We'll get to the third one right now, and I'm actually excited to talk about this one: Miranda Maverick versus Jamie Lynn Horth. Um, the line is wide on this, but Miranda Maverick is the easy pick. Um, it's tough to parlay her up, but Miranda Maverick's the pick. She should absolutely win this. I don't think it's a question. Um, I wouldn't hate anyone for parlaying her up. I think that it's a if we were sticking with our ladder bet that we were doing a little while ago, where we actually racked up some good money, I wouldn't be opposed to putting Miranda Maverick money line in this, but this could easily be a split decision because Jamie Lynn Horth is big. She's strong. She's going to push forward. But I think that Miranda Maverick, if she is fighting a smart game plan, she's going to just bring this girl to the ground and be able to do exactly what she needs to do here. The last loss that she had was Jasmine Jasudavicius, who is a very, very good wrestler. Jamie Lynn Horth's not a good wrestler. She's a physical cage pusher, and Maverick can absolutely kind of compensate for the strengths that Horth is showing here, and I think she can pull this out and make it look fairly easy. Could be a split, but I see a 29-28 for Maverick all day here. So give me Maverick decision. What do you got?
To be honest, I think Maverick's gonna finish her. I really think so. I think Maverick's gonna get her on the ground and get her out of there. I think she's just gonna show a big size difference here. Maybe wait and double check me here, but I think when they face off, we're gonna see a massive size difference, and Maverick's gonna be way too strong with her, and she's just gonna manhandle her. Whichever way Maverick wants to win, knockout or sub, it's gonna be early. I think that's a not a bad way to look at it. Like Miranda Maverick under 1.5 might be one of those punts I'd be looking at, and that's probably a way to get her at plus money. Because let me look at the over under on this fight.
Well, so Horth is bigger by
Yeah, so if you Miranda Maverick by finish is gonna be plus money, which is a good bet. I think that's live, and that's
like
probably
a
the way.
positional TKO or what?
Just sub or KO, it's gonna be plus money because look at the over under. The
Yeah,
under
but
is
I'm talking about like how does she get the finish? Like I understand the sub side, but like from a TKO side, is it like a standing TKO or a
oh no,
positional
takedown,
TKO?
takedown, takedown, mount, downward elbows. You
So
know,
positional.
they already opened up more avenues for these people, for all the fighters to train too. So the more months that go by, we're going to be seeing more of these deadly techniques. And I think Miranda Maverick's on my list to show some new technique.
Does it
I think
bother you that the old gloves are being brought back? Like not the old gloves, but
I
the
really
shitty
don't care.
gloves.
Well, think about it. The old gloves come back, so the finishes are more likely to happen. And now
No,
they,
no, no.
yeah,
I'm talking about the old new gloves, like the fucking gloves that they put a bunch of money in that they took away and that are not going to be a part of the fights next year. The old gloves, like the shitty gloves, the new gloves. It's so confusing. But
I'm
those
confused
gloves,
now. You've
the
confused
softer
me.
gloves with less knockouts are used in this fight.
I thought they brought the old gloves back. Am I confused about which are the old gloves or what?
So until the end of the year, the pay-per-views get the old gloves, which have more knockouts, and the fight nights and these free cards have the new gloves, which are softer until next year, until 2025. And then they are going back to the gloves that have more knockouts. So this card has the gloves with the softer, the softer gloves. So there's going to be less finishes by knockout on this card if you're following that conspiracy theory that these old new gloves are softer.
I like that. That is amazing information, Ryan. That would also be a case for what did we see? We saw more knockouts by like knees, kicks, and elbows during
Right.
that span too. So yeah, I mean, I'm still not going to sleep on it. You're absolutely right. This might be why it's plus 350 on Miranda Maverick by finish. That's still something I'm probably going to take a poke at. But you're absolutely right. The hands, she's not getting it done with the hands. It has
No.
to be something brutal. And
Elbows.
I think if she got in that position anyways, that's how she's going to do it. Smaller cage, which helps me here. But you're absolutely right. The gloves hurt all the finish capabilities on this card. So be wary of that. That is amazing information from Ryan. Definitely going to still go Miranda Maverick KO.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going Miranda decision, but I don't hate that finish call because I think she's such a better fighter than Jamie Lynn Horth. So we'll see. Next fight, Miles Johns versus Felipe Lima. This is yours, Alex. What do you think about Chapo versus Jungle Boy here?
Great matchmaking. You know how it is with the UFC matchmakers. For every crappy, filler fight they got, they'll give you one of these. And this is one of those good ones you're going to tune into. I think we're going to see a banger, guys. I really do. We got two good wrestlers. I think Felipe Lima is going to take Miles Johns in a deep water. It's going to be similar to his last fight. It's going to be competitive. He might be down a round, might be down 2 rounds, but I think eventually that cardio and that pressure Lima is going to get to Johns. Johns is obviously live for that KO. Wouldn't sleep on that because Lima is open to get hit. I'm actually kind of leaning a finish here. I think these guys are going to scrap. You know how it is with those styles. They make matchups, two wrestlers typically. You're going to see a banger. I think someone's going to sleep. I think Lima is going to put him out in round 2. But it's hard to go against Miles Johns. I'm not going to be putting any money on this fight. This is one I'm going to just enjoy because I'm not laying minus 250 against Johns here.
Yeah, I mean, Lima came in on like 4 days' notice, 3 days' notice, and he beat Naimov. And I think he submitted him in round three in Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia, where the fuck they were. That was nuts. No one expected that. And for that, I have so much respect for Lima. He was fighting for his mom, he said. Dude, you can't bet against this guy. Miles Johns, yeah, he's great. I mean, he's good for the level of UFC competition that he's fighting against. He's 6-2 in the UFC. So we're talking about a dude that's beaten guys like, Douglas Silva de Andrade, Cody Gibson. He's beating Vince Morales. Um, Kevin Natividad isn't great, but he's losing to John Sexy Mexi Castaneda. So it's like a matchup thing because John Castaneda's he's not great. He's good, but he's not great. I think that this is fucking Lima all day, man. I think that this is an easy pick. I just don't know if he finishes, if he goes the distance, if it's a split, but I think that Lima wins this for sure. So I think that the Lima money line is safe for your parlays, all that kind of stuff. A lot of people on Tapology are like the most preferred method is the submission. I think that's the least likely thing to happen here. I think either a knockout or a decision is more likely for Lima. So
I
yeah, just give
agree,
me
but
Lima
we know
money
how
line.
Miles Johns is. If he gets hurt, he's gonna shoot the double. Both of these guys are mainly wrestling based, so it wouldn't shock me to see a Lima sub. Obviously the club and sub is live too, but we could be wrong about the the striking game plan, and they could come out and grapple like they usually do. Then it could end in a Lima sub, very likely.
Well, sure, it could. I mean, it's a fucking fist fight, so it could end any way possible, right? But I just don't see Miles Johns getting subbed by Lima. And I could be wrong. This could be, I mean, one of the losses, like when Miles Johns gets finished, it's by sub or by knockout, right? Or when he loses, I should say, it's by sub or by knockout. So the guy doesn't go to decision and lose. I think that this, the look that you had there saying that there's a finish on this fight, I think that that's live for sure. But I see a Lehman knockout coming, and I see it coming in round two, maybe round one. But yeah, Lima's aggressive, man, and he's very good, and I think he's a lot better than Miles Johns. So yeah, give me Lima knockout round one, I'll say. Um, I'm not super confident in that round, but I'm pretty confident in the knockout. I think that he can get that done. Let's move on to the next one here. Sean Woodson, built like an alien, versus Fernando Padilla. built like a different breed of alien. We got long legs versus a long neck. Who do you think wins this fight, man? This is a weird matchup, and Sean Woodson does very well in this weight division at featherweight, but he's usually fighting dudes that are so much shorter than him, and Padilla is actually, similar height to him. He's 1 inch shorter. So what do you think about? And I think like 7 inches of that comes from his neck. But what do you think about like the actual matchup, the skill for skill? Who wins this fight?
I never really was a big fan of Sean Woodson, and he's been on a run lately. You know what I mean? Some of these definitely shouldn't have gone his way. He lost the Saldana fight, in my opinion. He lost the Jourdain fight, in my opinion. But it's hard not to go with Padilla here. I feel like this is my trap bet of the week. I'm trying to do extra tape on it. Haven't really made a decision. I'm leaning Padilla just based on the odds. I think he's a harder hitter. I think he can put out Sean Woodson, but it's hard going against this guy's streak. And when he makes a good cut, he shows up, and he's big too. And you're absolutely right. Another reason why I like Padilla is Sean Woodson hasn't been fighting guys his size. He hasn't been fighting those long, lanky dudes, and Padilla has. He has a couple of those guys on his record. So this one's tough. Feels like the 1-800 gambler. When I looked at this fight before the odds came out, I thought Padilla would have been the favorite. So I'm just a little bit reluctant after seeing that the odds are the opposite. So I'm gonna go Padilla wins. I'm gonna say knockout. I'm gonna say late two, round three. John Woodson has shown to gas out later in a fight, and I think Padilla is gonna have that second wind in him. What do you think, Ryan?
Dude, this one's really hard. Um, like you, I am not a fan of Sean Woodson. I think in an actual fight, like a street fight, Sean Woodson gets fucking murdered. Like he's a technical point fighting boxer, and that's what he does. If he's fighting like a random dude, like, just some guy that he starts shit with on the street, he gets fucked up. And I don't like that in a fighter that I'm betting on. But his record is undeniable, man. I mean, like, when's the last time this guy's lost? It's been quite some time. I'm gonna pull it up here real quick. My computer's acting a little slow.
Julian Erosa.
Yeah, Julian Erosa, a Darce choke, and he's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fight win streak and a 6 fight non-loss streak. He had a draw with Luis Saldana. I don't know, man. The guys that he's beating, Dennis Bazooka, sucks. Charles Jourdain, I think he sucks. A lot of people don't think so. Alex Caceres, I think he's overrated, but he doesn't suck. Alex Caceres, what's this fucking dude's record? 21-15. That's not a great record. So he's beating guys that aren't great, right? Now he's taking on somebody, Fernando Padilla, 16-5. I actually picked Kyle Nelson to beat him. Kyle Nelson's the only Canadian fighter that I actually enjoy watching to fight. Um, Luis Pajuelo, don't even know who the fuck that guy is, man. To be honest, he's 8-2. This is the last guy that Padilla has beaten. Then you're talking Julian Erosa, who he beat. Cameron Graves. I don't know any of these fucking people that fucking Fernando Padilla is beating. I gotta go fucking Sean Woodson here, man. It's tough. It's a tough pick. I think it could be a gritty fight. It usually Sean Woodson fights are gritty because he doesn't have any power in his punches. But yeah, give me Sean Woodson. Give me decision. I think it's one of these fights where it's a split and people are going to be calling robbery on both sides. But yeah, give me Woodson, man. I can't keep picking against him after I picked against him his last 3 fights, and he just fucking pulls it out somehow. He's an awkward fighter. He doesn't look like he wins any of these fights, but he does somehow. So just give me Woodson. I don't really care about this fight at all, though. So yeah, Woodson decision. This one I have much more of an opinion on. Drakkar Klose versus Joel Alvarez. I'm not going to beat around the bush. There's no reason to. Drakkar Klose has battled a lot of injuries, including a concussion that he suffered from Jeremy Stevens in a shove in a weigh-in. So I think that Jakar, I can't even pronounce his name because it doesn't merit any fucking talking about. Drakkar Close, he gets hurt in pushes and weigh-ins to the point where he can't fight. Give me Joel Alvarez. Easy pick. I think that he finishes Drakkar Close. Um, there's nothing that anyone could say that would tell me that Joel Alvarez doesn't knock this dude out. And even with the soft gloves, Joel Alvarez finishes Drakkar Close in round one or two. Give me the round one knockout for Alvarez. What do you got?
I agree with you 100%. I think Joel by finish is the safest bet. I would not get greedy on taking him by knockout or sub. If you're gonna try to shave that minus 400 down, you got to take Alvarez by finish here, in my opinion. I think it's like minus 135. That's a solid bet, and that's probably the only way to target this fight. I guess you could go with no distance because when Alvarez gasses and is on his back, he can get hit too. But I'm willing to risk it a little bit here. I'd go Alvarez. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna say round two knockout, but I'm gonna give Drakkar some credit.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, close, he hits hard, but I just think that the skills are not there for him. And I think that he cannot take a fucking hit. If you get pushed and you get a concussion from a push, that's not good. That's not a good look. And that's what happened to him. So again, that was against Jeremy Stevens. This was some time ago. But yeah, man, I think that Close is made of glass, and Joel Alvarez is a glass breaker, man. This dude's gonna come in here and fuck this guy up. So yeah, Alvarez, the Spaniards are fucking rising to the occasion right now. Should be a fun fight, but I say fun because I think I see a violent finish. Michael Johnson versus Otman. Sorry, Otman Azaitar. I mean, God, dude, we have a fucking old man in fucking Michael Johnson here, taking on just a very untalented piece of shit fighter. But what do you think happens here, man? This is your call.
I think Michael Johnson got this in the bag. I think we're gonna see a nice Michael Johnson knockout. I would love to see that. Um, he hasn't had a knockout in a long time too, so 2 years. I think we see that again. I think we're gonna see a great fight. I'm always tuning in for a Michael Johnson fight. Tell you that
I
man's
love Michael Johnson.
entertaining.
Yeah.
Man is entertaining. He's one of these vets, and like I said earlier, I think this is just similar to the last card. I think this is one of those spots where the vet's gonna show up. I like Johnson. I think he's the rightful favorite. I think the odds are exactly where they should be. But boy, I wouldn't go too heavy on this, guys. Michael Johnson's fight IQ is low. That he shit the bed for us previously in the past. I know who did I bet on him and he lost? I think it was Malarkey. So he is unreliable, guys, and go light betting him as a favorite because usually you want to gamble on him as a dog.
Dude,
So
all to your point, Alex, all that you need to know about Michael Johnson is he beat Dustin Poirier and lost to Nate Diaz.
yeah,
That's all you need to know. This guy's fought like this his entire career. He is unpredictable. He's so talented, but random.
definition of a wild card
Yes.
fight, but a fan favorite too. So be wary with this one. Definitely would go light. If anything, I maybe even a no distance here. I like to see some violence here. What do you think?
Yeah, violence is on the table for sure. Because if Zaitar ends up winning, it's definitely within the distance. I think that your safest, if you were going to take like a decision bet, like a finish no action bet, then you're going Johnson, right? Johnson's the one that's probably going to win this by points if it gets there, but I don't see it getting there. Zaitar doesn't have good cardio. Johnson doesn't have the best cardio because he's getting a little up there in age, but he's so much more technical. Um, I think that Johnson could definitely win this by points, just staying out of the danger because Azaitar hits hard. He definitely hits hard.
Mm.
But I think Johnson can avoid that and capitalize on the bad cardio of Zaitar. I wouldn't be surprised either way. This is my 1-800 gambler fight of the night. I think this is a tough one to pick either side, but I gotta go Johnson decision on this one. I think that he just gets it done, just grinds it out, potentially wrestles a little bit just to keep the dangerous power punching from a Zaitar out of the picture.
I thought Johnson was minus 180. I thought he was when I looked at it. Now he's minus 200. Pretty steep.
Yeah, it's steep, but I think it makes sense. Zaitar is not a good fighter, man. Fighting out of Morocco, these guys are like royalty out there. Him and his brother, and they don't follow the same rules as everybody else in Morocco. We'll just say that. There's been some shady shit going on with those brothers in the past. But yeah, it sounds like we're both on the Johnson side, and it's just one of those fights where it's tough to bet, but it should be fun. It should be fun. Anytime Michael Johnson fights, it's cool. So hopefully he'll fight a couple more times before 2030 is done. We'll see. But next fight, Navajo Sterling.
The disrespect for Johnson for not putting him on the main, huh? How is this on the main?
Well, Johnson, a lot of people don't know who he is, man. You know what I mean?
Bro, come on. The fan base that are watching these cards know who Michael Johnson is.
Sure. I would just argue like, they're trying to prop up, new fighters and Michael Johnson, Atman Azaitar, neither one of these guys are going to be sniffing title contention or rankings even. So, yeah, maybe put someone like Navajo Sterling in there who could potentially get up to the rankings in the light heavyweight division. I don't think he will, but he could. I mean, light heavyweight's a very uncompetitive division, but he's taking on Tuco Tucos, and I don't know. This is a weird matchup for me because I think that Navajo Sterling, all that he has is power. To be honest, the only fight that I've seen of him is this year earlier he fought on Dana White's Contender Series, dominated in that fight, got an early finish, but he always gets early finishes. He never fights later into rounds. But Tuco Tucos, I don't even know who the fuck this dude is. So I know that Tuco Tucos, from what I've heard, he's fought with some pretty, high level dudes, and he trains around high level dudes. He shit the bed against Omar Sy. Um, I think that they put him in there to lose, and now he's fighting somebody like Navajo Sterling who has big punching power. He's kind of like a Muay Thai kickboxing type fighter where he's going to look for more counters. He's not going to pressure too much, and he's just looking for like those returns. I got to go Sterling here. I hate it though. I hate it because I think he's a pretty big favorite, but Tuco Tucos, I don't think is worth a shit. So yeah, give me Sterling. Give me knockout round one. I think that's really his only method of victory. If you start getting into round two and three, especially later in round two, and then obviously in round three, if Tuco is keeping this close, then maybe you live bet on Tuco because I do not know what Sterling's cardio looks like in round three. So yeah, give me Sterling before flop, and then yeah, potentially Tuco if this drags on late and he's keeping it competitive.
So I did a lot of tape on Navajo for
You can
uh,
just say Navajo, like the Indians. It's Navajo.
whatever Sterling. I did a lot of tape on Sterling, and you're absolutely right. If he doesn't get it early, he'll just point you out to a decision. He's not gonna try to go for those late finishes. He's pretty much gonna change his strategy. And if he knows you're tough, and he's just gonna Muay Thai point you to a decision. He's a Muay Thai champion. He's pretty good. His record does not display how much experience he has, in my opinion. This is why he's minus 800. But in my opinion, I think there's a good opportunity to gamble on this fight. I like the fight to go a little bit longer than anticipated. Like I might bet Sterling in round 2 to start because I think Tokos can hang with him. I think he's gonna try to go longer and he's gonna try to test them in the late waters, and that means we're gonna have a slow start. So I'm gonna go with Sterling in round 2 to start. I might even take a look at the over 1.5 with it, but that's how I'm gonna target this one. I do like Sterling a lot. I think this is a definitely a highlight reel fight for him. But I think he's going to win a decision. That's going to be my final pick. I think he's going to win a decision, but it's kind of his welcoming into the UFC. You know, it's a good debut for him to show his skills. I think he's got a good punching bag here, and he's just going to go off for 3 rounds. He's going to show us what he can do.
Okay. Yeah, very contradictory to what I'm saying. We're both picking the same side in Sterling, but I think that he gets it done in round one. Alex thinks that he gets it done via decision. So yeah, very interesting. But yeah, both on the Sterling side. I think that's a safe pick, the Sterling side. So if you like the money line, just take that. Next up, Daniel Marcos versus Adrian Yanez. He insists that he is Yanez, even though there's no fucking tilde over that N. Everyone called him Yanez for a long time, but it's Yanez. Daniel Marcos, man, very versatile. Yanez, more of a boxer. What do you think about this matchup? You're
Great
muted.
matchmaking. I love this matchup. Definitely another one I'm going to tune into. I'm a little bit worried it could be boring, and it could be a slow, methodical, striking boxing match.
It will be.
And
You're
if
right.
it's like that, I think Daniel Marcos is going to win. But I really feel like Yanez is going to have some moments. I think there's going to be some moments. We've seen Marcos get tired in the past. I'm going to go a little bit safer on this fight. I don't really want to take a side. I think he can get close. And you know how I am with these close fights and the goddamn judges. Like, if I could have, you and I both know going into that decision with Gane and Volkov that, you know, if I could have got my money back before the decision, I probably would have taken it. You know what I mean?
And who'd you
So
bet on?
I hate, yeah, on Gone. And I just hate having my money in spots and then going to a decision and feeling like shit. So this is one of the fights I'm going to target the over. And pretty much I believe that Marcos is safe. I just want to trust Yanez's chin against Marcos. So I'm going to go with the over 2.5 on Yanez and Marcos. I like that.
Yeah, over 2.5 is safe. If you pick a winner, who's winning?
Marcos decision, but not confident.
Yeah, man, I'm very confident in Marcos, to be honest. That's why I was curious. Yanez is a one-dimensional boxer. That's all that he is. And he's not even a high-level boxer at the UFC level.
Yeah, but this is a boxing fight. We can both pretty much assume that this is going to be a stand-up battle for 3 rounds at the
But
least.
Marcos is a kickboxer. Yanez is a boxer. It's a
Okay,
big
maybe.
difference. In an MMA fight, that's a big difference. Yanez isn't going to take Marcos down. You know, this is going to be a kickboxing fight where Yanez is just throwing his hands and Marcos is throwing kicks and hands and knees and elbows. So yeah, give me Marcos. He could finish Yanez, I think. I think Yanez is very good, but as good as he is, he's still overrated.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He's got that dog in him. And
No, he doesn't, man.
he does, man. He does. He's got that dog in him.
I've seen him quit
He's a
twice.
killer, be killed fighter. You know, maybe the over 2.5 might be not like the greatest bet because he comes out there and he weaponizes his pressure. He definitely is there to be hit, but he's a give one to take one kind of guy.
Yeah, he can
I
catch
just I'm
Marcos.
scared if the fight becomes a brawl that Giannis is gonna have more in the tank. I really do believe that. I really believe that if Marcos dumps the gas and the adrenaline in the first round, let's say he drops Giannis. Like Giannis gets dropped a lot, right? We can both agree on that. Say he gets dropped, and Marcos runs in, drops his adrenaline, doesn't get the finish. Round 2 and 3 are gonna be all Giannis, and we've seen that plenty of times in the past. We've seen Giannis do that countless times. Be down round one, come back round two like a dog. So this feels like my 1-800 gambler fight. So I feel like I'm going to bet the over, and it might be one of the sweatiest overs of all time. And we've seen plenty of those before.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll be that sweaty of an over. I do think that this goes to decision, but I think that Marcos pulls this out pretty clearly, potentially a 30-27. It could be 29-28. But yeah, I see a 30-27 across the board from Marcos, where he's just outpointing Yanez, leg kicking. Yanez does not do well against leg kicks, as we saw against his fight with Justin Martinez. And yeah, it's one of those things, man, where I think that Marcos is the better, more well-rounded fighter. I'm sorry, Jonathan Martinez, not Justin. Um, yeah, I just see I don't see more than one way for Yanez to win, and that's an early knockout. I think that Marcos can outpoint, he can knock out, he could even get a submission against Yanez. But yeah, Marcos all day for me. But give it to me by decision here. Moving on up, and you start this one, I believe, or did you start the last one? No, yeah, I start this one. Dustin Jacoby, sorry, Dustin Jacoby, the Hanyak versus Vitor Petrino. Jacoby to me has been overrated for some time. And we saw that in that Dominic Reyes fight where a lot of people picked him to win and he ended up shitting the bed and just getting knocked out early in round one. He got finished earlier than Anthony Smith did. And Anthony Smith went into that last fight where he got finished by Dominic Reyes in round two, late in round two. Um, Jacoby got finished fairly early in round one. And yeah, that was just not a good look for him. So I think Jacoby's washed. He's 1-4 in his last five, losing to, decent level competition. Vitor Vitor Petrino, I think this is a buy low spot on him because he got choked out by Anthony Smith because he dived headfirst into a guillotine. Petrino's the side all day here. There's no one that can convince me that Jacoby wins this fight. I think Petrino wins this. I think he finishes it early. He can knock him out. He could submit him. I don't even care. It's just Vitor Petrino all day. Take some time on this one, Alex. I gotta go take a piss. And yeah, give us your thoughts.
I hear a lot of people taking Jacoby. I hear the claims, the odds are wide. Minus 280. Let's see where it's at right now. Minus 325, so it's inflated a little bit. Minus 350 in some spots. Minus 290 on DraftKings. It's a wide line to bet on a guy that only can win by knockout, in my opinion, on the feet. I really think Jacoby, if this is a 3-round fight, standing, which we've seen Petrino do in the past, if this is a stand-up battle, I think Jacoby is going to win this 199 out of 10 times. It's just what is Petrino's game plan? You got to think he's coming in here to grapple. And if you come in here to grapple, then it might look like a minus 300 in here. But this feels like a 1-800 gambler spot to me. It really feels like they're begging for bets on Jacoby. They're like, hey, we know Jacoby won a ton of these fights. Like, I thought he won the Khalil Roundtree fight 100% of the time. That was his. I was really shocked about that. He blew the Azamat fight. He had a chance to win that. Menafield could have gone either way. And, yeah, that loss to Dominic Reyes isn't really that bad in hindsight. So I think Petrino can win by knockout. I think he can win by sub as well. But if this is a stand-up fight, Jacoby, I think, can outpoint him. And I think the safest way to bet this fight is Jacoby decision only. Even though it's hard to bet him decision only, knowing he can get robbed like he's done many times in the past. But that's the way I would bet this. Jacoby decision only. It's definitely probably not going to be plus 250 where his line is. But then if he gets finished, it's a push. So this is the decision only I would hit for Jacoby. Petrino should get a finish here, but if he tries to strike with Jacoby for 3 rounds and think he's gonna kickbox with Jacoby, Jacoby's gonna outpoint him. It's gonna look easy, and he's gonna look like the minus 300 here. So it really only comes down to Petrino's game plan. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna go. I wanna because I have my bet's gonna be against my pick, but I'm gonna go Petrino round one sub, but not confident. My heart's telling me Jacoby.
Yeah, I mean that's not a bad call at all, but I think Petrino fucking gets this done, man. It's tough to pick against him in this spot, but we'll move on to the featured fight of the night, Manel Kape versus Bruno Silva. And I know you love Bruno Silva and you love Manel Kape. So I'm curious what you think about this one, man.
Feels like a trap, man. It really does feel like a trap. The stock's low on one guy and the stock's high on one guy. And look at the line. You know what I mean? So it's fishy. It's hard to say no to that Bruno Silva line. There is so much value on that. He can win by finish. He can win by sub. He could outpoint Cap. It's almost an auto bet at this point. So, I have to go with Bruno Silva given these odds. But if it was like a pick 'em, I could see Cap winning a decision, but I wouldn't even be betting it then. All the values on Silva here. That's why it feels like a trap. I feel like I got a gun to my head saying bet Silva or fade. So, it's hard to bet Cap after he let me down against Makayev. You know, but this is a matchup I could see him winning. He could just stand behind his jab against Bruno Silva, win a 3-round decision, call it a day. And that's what I really think of what we're gonna see here is a Cap decision. But boy, like Bruno Silva finish only is something I might hit. Um, Over 1.5 is another thing I like. I would hit. I think both of these guys are super durable. So yeah, this is a good fight to target. I would just be a little bit wary on picking an exact side. So yeah, I'll go Cap decision, but this is the one I'm gonna take Bruno Silva finish only because that's my guy.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Tough one to pick because Manel Kape, he fought. I mean, he got finished by Kai Asakura at one point, right? Or maybe he didn't get finished, but he lost to him. And we just saw how he competed against the potentially the greatest featherweight of all time. There's a lot of work to be done for Alexandre Pantoja before he's actually crowned that. But the level of competition that this dude's fighting and he's just dominating. It's incredible. And Manel Kape lost to this guy. I think it was a decision. I think they fought twice. He might have beat him once, but I'm talking about Kai Asakura here. Manel Kape, man, I think that he makes every fight too close. And for that reason, I'm taking Bruno Silva because he has that fight-ending power. It's that same thing to where like Bruno Silva is kind of like the flyweight version of Alex Pereira. He's got the night ending power. He can finish it at any given moment with a punch. He's got big power for this division, kind of like Kai Kara France does. Um, I just think that Manel Kape has to fight a perfect fight, and Bruno Silva can make some mistakes, but he can still win. So yeah, give me Bruno Silva, especially at these odds. It's wild. People are so high on Manel Kape, and I'm not sure why. I don't see it. I don't see the allure that people have for this dude. So I think Silva's a little bit underrated. Manel Kape's a little bit overrated. And for that reason, with these odds, especially if they get wider come fight night, I'm taking Bruno Silva. So yeah, give me Bruno Silva. Could be a knockout, could be a decision. I don't think he submits Cop, but yeah, give me Bruno Silva, maybe a double method with the the knockout or the decision. But for the sake of the show, give me Bruno Silva by decision. It's a flyweight fight. These guys don't knock each other out too often.
I don't. I think politically that's not a good bet, just because you got to think Kaya Sakura fighting last week, who's technically ahead of Manel Cap. They have history. They could have their trilogy fight in the UFC. That's a great call out for Cap after this fight. I'm definitely gonna pressure my guys to bet Bruno Silva by finish only, because I think the only way we lose here is by the judges.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I think Silva makes it dominant and he looks good. But we'll move to the co-main and then we'll get to the main. We'll get through this fun card, last card of the year, guys. Co-main's fun. Cub Swanson versus Billy Q, Billy Quarantillo, Willie Q. I think the pressure of Billy Quarantillo is going to be a little bit too much for Cub Swanson. Now, people say that Cub Swanson's old. Billy Quarantillo is only 4 years younger. I mean, we're talking about a 40-year-old versus or a 41-year-old versus a 36-year-old. So, basically we're realistically saying 4 years younger because, 41 years in 1 month for Cub Swanson versus 36 years and 6 days for Billy Q. Billy Q puts on pressure. That's the way that he likes to fight. He likes to drown people in his cardio. He's got great cardio. He's going to be able to do the full 15 minutes hard. Cub Swanson, very technical boxer. Um, he does have some kicks, but Quarantillo, I think, is just going to drown him here, man. I think it's kind of an easy pick in this spot, and I'm going to take Billy Q, even though I don't think that Billy Q is the greatest. Cub Swanson has seen the top, and I don't think Billy Q ever will, obviously. But at this stage in the game, Billy Q is so much more just aggressive. He's got what it takes to get this done, in my opinion, and I think that he gets it done by decision. So yeah, give me Billy Q, just drowning Cub Swanson and making it look fairly easy at 30-27 for Billy Q.
Uh, I would live bet Billy Q. There's no way I'm putting money on him as a favorite here. I think Swanson's the better technical boxer. So I think early, as long as he has gas, he's going to be winning the minutes. And yeah, but I really do believe that Billy still got some youth in him. And the longer the fight goes, Billy Q's going to slowly take over with the pressure and the cardio, absolutely. But I really do think Cub has a finishing capability. I think he has a chance here. The odds are super close because this fight is going to be a banger. These guys are both getting the fight that they want. Fight on the feet. And this is going to be an absolute war. Definitely a coin flip. Hard not to go with the older vet here, but I honestly agree with you. I think Billy Q is going to come on late. He's going to win a decision, but Cub's going to hold on, and Cub's going to win that first round. I think that's when I'm going to hit Billy Q. Billy Q's going to win the next two rounds, and yeah, he's going to win a decision in my opinion. But I think it's going to be a crazy fight, and this is going to be a good one. And I think both of these guys are going to be bloody if they make it.
Yeah, it should be a fun one. There's a reason that this is the co-main on this last fight of the year. But let's move to the main event, man. This is a fun one to talk about. We got Colby Covington versus Joaquin Buckley. This is yours to take first. I have a strong opinion on this, but I'm curious what you think.
It feels like an early Christmas gift when I saw this line, though. You know, it's tough betting against Buckley, but they're really baiting me on taking Covington. They really are. It's hard not to bet Covington at plus 205, but that line stuck out to me. Why is it so wide? That line's ridiculous. But he is inactive. 5 fights in 4 years. 5 fights in 5 years. A year, like it's hard to bet against these active fighters. Like Buckley's almost fought 5 times, in the span that Kobe's fought once. That just tells you like the difference in paycheck. You get what I'm saying? There's a
Yeah.
difference in paycheck. One man only needs to fight once a year, and then he's good. He don't need to go risk it. And one man is fighting as much as possible. So either Kobe's going through injuries or he's not motivated. Something's up. But it's a fight that I'm probably gonna end up staying away from. Feels like one of those unpredictable fights. It's hard not to go with Kobe Covington as a huge dog here. It almost just screams value. And Buckley's on a crazy run right now. Crazy run. You know, hasn't lost since Chris Curtis. And what was that at middleweight? He's just come down to welterweight and he's been shredding through everyone. But how's he gonna look in a 5 round fight? You know, how's he gonna look if he doesn't get him out of there? So I'm curious to see how this fight's gonna go. But you're absolutely right. I think you're gonna go with Buckley here. I'm gonna go with Kobe by decision. I'm just not super confident. I'm not even know if I'm gonna bet on it. Probably not. But this is a fishy fight because they canceled this fight with Ian Gary when he was fighting Buckley. They were matched up. They were supposed to fight soon. They broke that fight up so Ian Gary could fight Shavkat, fill in a spot. And now all of a sudden Kobe's ready to fight. It was just kind of strange to me. Feels like the UFC are up to something with this matchmaking. So I'm probably gonna stay away from this. But what do you think?
Yeah. Who'd you think I was picking?
I thought you were picking Buckley. That was my prediction.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're wrong because I got Colby Covington. I'm so confident in Colby Covington in this spot because Colby Covington loses to people like Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards, people that challenge for the title.
Yeah, but look at
Or
the size of this guy. This guy's massive. This guy's weight bullying the whole welterweight division. It's scary.
yeah, it doesn't matter, man. Colby Covington is such a good wrestler. He's going to win this fight by decision. And we also got to remember that Trump just got reelected. And this is big for Colby Covington. So Colby Covington wins this fight. I'm very confident that he does so by decision. And I mean, he could knock him out in round five with a positional type thing. He could submit him in round five. But Joaquin Buckley, I think that the steroids that this guy's on, I don't think are going to allow him to continue into round four and five. So as long as we get into round four and five, Colby wins maybe round three. I mean, Buckley could do well, but Colby Covington is such a good wrestler, man. People forget how good this guy is at wrestling because of his last performance. This is a buy low spot, a massively buy low spot on Colby Covington. So yeah, give me Colby Covington by decision. It could be a 50-45 across the board. I could see a finish for Covington. I don't think that Buckley's on the level, man. I never thought. I know he has one of the flashiest knockouts ever against Impa Kasanganay, but who the fuck is Impa Kasanganay? Who cares? Who cares about that wild knockout?
Just the guy
Buckley,
who won $1 million in PFL, you know, just that guy.
but yeah, but it's PFL, man. PFL is amateur as far as I'm concerned.
Player
PFL
for
is
life.
what's that?
Player for life.
Yeah, PFL is just not the level of competition there is not anywhere near the UFC. I would say one is probably secondary, Ryzen's probably after that, and then Bellator PFL. These PFL guys are not good, man. Um, I don't care. I don't care about, Buckley's flashy style. He's definitely like fun. He's more likable than Colby Covington. I don't like Colby Covington myself, but he's good. He's very good at the wrestling and the 25-minute fights, and that's where we're in right now. Unless Buckley gets a round one or two knockout, this is Colby Covington's fight all day to win by decision. He wins rounds three, four, and five easy. And yeah, I think he's just going to wrestle fuck him. I think it's going to be a relatively boring fight for a main event, but Colby Covington definitely gets this done, in my opinion. So yeah, man, Colby by decision, easy pick, and I'm happy to put 100 or $200 on that
But
to
you've been
win.
hot with the main events recently. You've been hot, so
Yeah, that's where I cash my money is on the main events. But yeah, dude, and
you're
I'll
finally
just
going
take the
with the
money line.
dog after this long.
I'll take the money line on Colby
That'd be
Covington.
our fucking Christmas gift. I swear to God, I'm not getting Cole for Christmas.
Yeah, yeah, there's no way. But
Colby Covington brings coal and chaos. Better not.
hey, that's a nice gimmick. But yeah, man, stop sharing your screen. We'll end this nice episode that we had, just you and me. You and me. Jared's not here. It's all right though. We'll have him back at the beginning of the year. We've got some interesting developments going on here on the show, so it'll be fun to see what 2025 brings in store for Casual KO. But, I wouldn't be opposed to doing like an episode or two before the end of the year. After this last fight on December 14th, I think it is. Um,
But we can't go anywhere without giving out some plays because I got Jared's whale plays.
oh
And
yeah, no, we're absolutely gonna do that. I'm just saying, this isn't the last episode of the year. We're gonna be doing more. So yeah, give those plays out and let's see what's going on.
so what I got? The whale is Grant, Davy Grant. He gave it out at plus 100. It's almost even odds right now. It's plus in a couple spots left. And he's given out the Steamer, which is Piero Rodriguez. It is Felipe Lima, Sean Woodson, and Kobe Covington. That's plus 1994.
Hmm.
Make the bank account great again. And as far as me, uh, you know, DM me later on in the week. I'll have some more spots. I'm definitely going to be targeting a lot of over-unders on this card. I'm going to give out Navajo Sterling to win and over 1.5. Should be a plus money bet. Might be even odds. But that's going to be my play for you.
Yeah, man. I don't have much on this one. I just think you can bet whatever you're willing to lose, and times that by 10 on Colby Covington. I think Colby Covington wins this. I think it's very, very clear. Um, it's just one of those weird things where why the fuck is this dude minus 200? It doesn't make sense. Or plus 200. It doesn't not it makes zero sense to me. Buckley hasn't proved anything to me. Yeah, he's on a streak, but I think a lot of people are just going to be kind of like allured into that, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I do not see Buckley winning this fight. So it'll be fun. It'll be a cool, way to go out on the year. And it'd be fun to go out on a pay-per-view and whatnot. But we got some stuff coming up in January for UFC. So we'll see, man. But hopefully, you know, like I said, we hope to talk to you guys before the end of the year once again, just to kind of recap, talk about some fun fights, just do some fun content for you guys. But if not, have a Merry Christmas, have a happy holiday, whatever the fuck you celebrate. And we'll be back. We will be back. Alex, any last words before we get out of here?
We are on a heater, guys. DM us. We will take care of you for the rest of December.